Welcome back to the channel. If you're into stories like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure to hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. I'm dropping new content 3 times a week now, so stay tuned. Now, let's dive into today's story. Even if we still have our jobs at the end of this, we're all going to be publicly crucified. I could do with doing a desk-bound admin job for the rest of my life. Fuck you both. Still in the mood for jokes? The perm sec is on my ass, and I guarantee if my head rolls, I'll take both of yours with me. Andrew and I had our gallows humor to cope with such cases, but anyone could easily tell this was different. The mood was different. Perks of a country with a low crime rate, I guess. There's always the initial public shock and horror, followed by the unsaid expectations of an immediate arrest. Nobody admits it, but the public loves the little thrill of an ongoing manhunt as long as their little bubble of normalcy remains intact. This was different. There was the first body, grotesquely mutilated. Then came the second, and then the third. Leaked photos of the crime scene meant the horrors were plain for all to see. Nothing our vague descriptions could mask. Leads were scarce. None of it made any sense. A sales director in his 50s, an odd job laborer in his 70s, a housewife in her 40s. Each of them willingly made their way to these different forested areas where they were then killed. But why? All 3 victims had signs of putting up a struggle before they were killed. Blunt force trauma to the head, stab wounds through the heart, excessive loss of blood through slash wounds at the carotid artery, the unexplained burn marks, the messy severing of limbs. Forensics couldn't be certain if the killers for these 3 were the same person. The relentless rain over the past week had also washed away any possible footprints or clues in the mud. Every available bit of manpower was directed towards this case. Patrol teams combed forested areas endlessly and conducted thorough vehicle searches in the vicinities. Our hunch was these killings would not be the last anytime soon. I thumbed through the interview transcripts with close contacts again. Nothing clicked. Phone records and emails were of no help as to why they were even heading to these locations. No signs that the victims even knew each other. The only inkling that seemed out of the ordinary was seemingly busier evenings for the victims in the weeks leading up to their deaths. I sighed at the painful prospect of tracing back their movements as far as a month ago. Just then, the commissioner burst right in. "We got our guy! We got him!" Everyone's excitement was audible as we rushed right out. Suspect is on his way to the hospital. Was about to kill his next one before he got shot by patrol officers. I couldn't believe our sudden change of luck as we sped down the streets, hoping to get any FaceTime before he got to the emergency room. Andrew could barely contain himself as he continued to press the ground officers for more details. "There's a chance our guy might not make it. 2 shots in the chest. No identification found. Seems to be mid-40s. As we rushed toward the emergency room, I tried to visualize what our killer might look like. Psychotic, menacing, the likes of a rogue butcher. What would drive someone to commit these seemingly random acts? Our eyes made contact as he was wheeled in. This was not my first rodeo. There usually would be a sign of defeat, a certain sense of peace, maybe even an ironic smirk. Not him. I could see his anger bubbling through his eyes, as he probably fought to stay awake. Time was of the essence, as the nurses rushed him toward the operating theater. I could sense that this was our last chance as the paramedics mentioned that his odds were grim. "Why?" I yelled. "Identify yourself." I could barely hold back as I tried to keep up with the nurses. He struggled to keep his eyes on me as his breaths grew heavier. I decided to take my chance and pulled his oxygen mask off while leaning close to him. "Excuse me, sir, you can't do that." "Sir, please step back." The protests of the nurses drowned in the background as he weakly uttered, "Stop them. You'll have to." I tried. As I tried to make sense of his words, the nurses dragged me off before wheeling him into the operating theater, his eyes wide open, with his gaze seemingly drifting away. "The fuck? They're going to lodge a complaint against you for sure," Andrew muttered. I waved him off as I repeated those words over again. "What did he say?" "He said we'll have to stop them, whatever the fuck that means." "Anyway, have they managed to confirm his identity?" "Nope. No identification found. We're running fingerprints, so we might have an answer soon." "Don't overthink it too much. Probably mad or just delirious. I mean, who wouldn't be after getting shot?" I didn't know if it was best for me to hang around the operating theater or if I should head off to our latest victim. At the looks of it, we might have more luck finding answers from the latter. "Oh yes, anything on our victim? On his way to the hospital too?" "Oh, I almost forgot. Patrol said he seemed fine aside from minor cuts and didn't need the hospital. Strange. Haven't heard from their side in a while." Just then, my phone rang. "You're at the hospital. Have you heard back from Patrol? They've been uncontactable for the past half an hour. I'm sending a team down." The room felt heavier as the call ended. The adrenaline coursing through me from the chase moments ago was quickly replaced by a gnawing sense of dread. Uncontactable patrol officers? That wasn't normal. Andrew and I exchanged a glance. He raised an eyebrow, his usual bravado faltering. "Half an hour?" he asked, his voice quieter than usual. I nodded. "Too long. Something's not right." We didn't wait for backup. It wasn't protocol, but protocol had become a distant memory ever since the first body turned up. To be continued.